I posted a variation of this video a few hours before I'm posting this one, but had to take it down due to it being mildly corrupted, and a lot of commenters were pointing it out. I didn't know why it happened, and I still don't know why. However, I saw a good opportunity to re-upload with a small change after yet another casting for Superman Legacy was announced, so I'll talk about that here before playing the original video in its entirety, where I don't yet know about this new casting. This newest casting is yet another superhero who's completely unrelated to Superman in Metamorpho. Metamorpho, whose alter ego is Rex Mason, will be played by Anthony Carrigan. Carrigan is no stranger to DC roles. He previously played Victor Zsasz on Gotham really well, I might add, and strangely enough played a villain of the week on The Flash who has a very similar power to Metamorpho in The Mist, who's able to turn into some sort of gas, which Metamorpho is able to do as well. Unlike the other three confirmed and cast heroes, Metamorpho has never appeared in live action before, and I will say I am very excited for his cinematic and live action debut. Anthony Carrigan is a super talented actor who's one of the standouts of the HBO series Barry. He's genuinely hilarious and also very good at the emotional moments. He's an incredible actor, and I think he fits the role well. Metamorpho is another one of the members of the Terrifics alongside Mr. Terrific, obviously, who is also going to be in this movie. Gunn has hinted at the Terrifics specifically before. It's very possible there is going to be a Terrifics project, maybe even the best Fantastic Four project ever made. Superman Legacy was confirmed just a few months ago, but already we have two of the quote-unquote Terrifics cast, while Fantastic Four, which is obviously what the Terrifics is based off of, had a movie that was confirmed a few years ago. Still nobody has been cast. So that's it for the Metamorpho part of this video. Let's get into the actual video where I don't yet know that Metamorpho was cast. I'm just going to play the entire video in its entirety, this time with no glitches. The new DC Cinematic Universe, also known as the DCU, just got so much bigger overnight, as things seem to be moving very quickly on the production of Superman Legacy, which is par for the course for James Gunn. Just a few weeks ago, we got the official casting of Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, and Clark Kent, aka Superman, who will be played by David Corenswet. Since then, James Gunn also answered some questions regarding the titular characters, saying that Clark will be the same age as David Corenswet in Superman Legacy, and presumably the rest of the DCU. David is currently 30 years old, but will be 32 as of the release of Legacy in around 2 years, meaning that Clark will probably be 32 during Superman Legacy as well. Additionally, after some news publications said that the movie will be a workplace origin, saying that James Gunn said that, he clarified that the movie will feature zero origin of any kind, but will take place in the early years of Clark's career at the Daily Planet, which seems kind of unusual for a 32-year-old, but either that won't really be a significant part of the movie, or maybe they'll explain that he was doing something else for the first few years of his 20s. These castings are probably great. I've never seen either in anything, but they both definitely look the part, and there's a reason David Corenswet was the #1 fan cast for Superman, and apparently Rachel Brosnahan gave an incredible audition. But let's talk about something much less expected. An entire 2 years before the release of the movie, 3 characters who are not a part of the Superman mythos at all, and instead are unrelated DC heroes, weren't just confirmed to appear in the movie, but also already cast alongside the confirmation, and it was a blindside. 3 superheroes with their castings, all of whom probably will go on to have significant roles in the DCU, were all just announced in one article last night. One of these characters actually wasn't at all surprising. Mr. Terrific has been pretty heavily hinted at by James Gunn, including in his first ever post after becoming head of DC, in which he simply posted an image of Mr. Terrific with no caption. Then, just a few months ago, he posted another image, this time of the Terrifics, again with no caption. A Mr. Terrific show has apparently been scooped, as was a Mr. Terrific appearance in Superman Legacy. Well, now it's been confirmed that Mr. Terrific will be played by Eddie Gathegi in Superman Legacy with an unknown-sized role. At 46 years old by the time of the release of the movie, it's safe to say that Holt will be an experienced hero by the time of the movie's release. In canon, Eddie previously played Darwin in X-Men First Class, who famously was the mutant who can't die but was killed, and Mr. Terrific was previously played played by Echo Kellum on Arrow. Although his name was changed to Curtis, he was gay, and he had a very different personality, and also wasn't exactly very good at his job. Here's hoping this new version will be better, the quintessential live-action Mr. Terrific that we have not gotten yet. Michael Holt being Mr. Terrific also kind of indirectly confirms that the original Mr. Terrific, Terry Sloan, was probably active at some point, possibly as a member of the Justice Society of America, as Michael takes a superhero name and the Fair Play branding from Terry Sloan. The Arrowverse managed to work around this by saying that Terry Sloan was a famous wrestler, but I doubt that'll be the case in the DCU. I think that the JSA will probably have been a superhero team in the past, probably during World War II. Either way, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Mr. Terrific, but I am a fan. I like the character. I'm excited to see this character on screen in the DCU. I think he has a really cool costume, a really cool, unique weapon with the T-spheres, which didn't need to be mentioned, but the article did say that he will have in the movie. Again, that's obvious. Either way, I think Mr. Terrific is a really cool character, and I'm glad they're adapting him in the DCU. Speaking of a superhero who appeared in the Arrowverse, Hawkgirl was a bit of a more surprising addition to the cast of Superman Legacy, but not a complete blindside on her own. In the past, James Gunn liked a photo with 4 female heroes, with the caption hoping to see them in the future. One of those heroes was Hawkgirl, specifically Shiera from Justice League Unlimited. Furthermore, when asked about his thoughts about the Kendra Saunders version of Hawkgirl, James Gunn replied, "They are good thoughts." So I always expected Hawkgirl to appear somewhere, but not necessarily this soon, or in Superman Legacy. Hawkgirl will be played by Isabel Merced in an unknown-sized role in Superman Legacy. This casting is definitely significant, as for one, the article that broke the casting mentioned that the actress's 5'1" stature differentiates her from the typical superhero, which is definitely true. She's very short, but that can't be used as something against her because she has superpowers, she has super strength, and she could fly, so her height doesn't really matter. On top of that, the actress is only 22 years old, or 24 by the time of the movie's release, as am I, which definitely feels very young for Hawkgirl, and would certainly make Aldous Hodge returning as Hawkman a bit less likely than it already is, given his 14-year age gap with Hawkgirl. The question then becomes, which version of Hawkgirl will she be playing? Well, as previously mentioned, Shiera, the Thanagarian version, and Kendra Saunders, the human version, were hinted at by James Gunn, and there's also a third version named Shiera Sanders. All these interpretations have appeared in other media at almost an equal rate, and none of them have a specific ethnicity that Isabel Merced fits into, so there's no real way of knowing which one. I will say Kendra's hint was stronger than Shiera's, so that would probably be my guess. Hawkgirl has appeared in live action before. Shiera Hole cameoed on Smallville, played by Sahar Biniaz. And much more significantly, Kendra Saunders had a very large role in the first season of Legends of Tomorrow, played by Kiara Renee, who was very poorly written. Here's hoping the DCU will give us the quintessential live-action version of Hawkgirl as well. I will say, Hawkgirl already having a big role in the DCU from the beginning makes the likelihood of Swift from The Authority appearing in the Authority movie or at all in this universe ever probably lower, because they don't want two characters who look identical. They look exactly the same, and I personally would prefer Hawkgirl every time over Swift. The Authority has enough members from either the Wildstorm universe or maybe characters from the DC version of the Authority that they can put in there. They don't need Swift. There seems to be a pattern here. Characters who have appeared in live action before but have never been adapted well in live action, and nowhere is that more true than for Guy Gardner, aka Green Lantern, or honestly Green Lanterns in general, which was indeed a complete blindside casting for Superman Legacy, even on his own, independent of the other two. Lanterns was confirmed to focus on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, which alongside another Twitter interaction that basically confirmed that Kyle Rayner will not be appearing at all in this universe, seemed to confirm that the human Green Lanterns of the DCU will only be Hal and Jon for now, especially since Guy Gardner was never hinted at all. Well, Guy Gardner will be appearing in Superman Legacy, played by very popular, or at the very least at one point popular, Hal Jordan fan casting, who's actually voiced Hal Jordan before, many times in fact, in DC animated movies, Nathan Fillion. Nathan is a longtime James Gunn collaborator, as he previously appeared very recently in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as, in my opinion, probably the funniest part of the movie, and even in the DCEU played TDK, or the detachable kid in the Suicide Squad, which he did survive. And this casting is kind of crazy for a few reasons. Nathan, obviously, like I just said, appeared not too long ago in the DCEU, in probably the second most connected to the DCEU project in the Suicide Squad, which stars Viola Davis as Amanda Waller and John Cena as Peacemaker, who will both be appearing in the DCU, played by those actors. He definitely also looks more like Hal Jordan than Guy Gardner, however, that's probably not going to be a problem. According to the article, and then corroborated by James Gunn, Guy Gardner will actually have the classic bowl haircut, hopefully a ginger one, for maximum comic accuracy and differentiation from the other Lanterns. Then there's the unmissable fact of Nathan Fillion's age, as at 52 years old currently and 54 years old by the time of the release of the movie, he is far older than Guy Gardner is typically, which was the main reason I thought they would never cast him as Hal Jordan. However, I do not think this will affect the Hal or John castings or their ages. I think that what will be happening here is Guy's age will add to his main characteristic of being an unlikable asshat, as his immaturity in contrast to his age will only make it more apparent. The article does say that Guy will bring some awkward comedy to Superman Legacy, so it's safe to say he will have his typical personality. Another possibility is that Guy will simply be younger than Nathan Fillion is, because yeah, he could pass as someone who's 40, maybe even 35. He definitely looks very good for his age, so that's definitely something they could get away with. Either way, this is definitely the most exciting of these confirmations, as the Green Lanterns in general have been sorely underused in live-action media, and none of them have ever been adapted well, and Superman Legacy has the opportunity to show what can be done with the Lantern powers on screen and making it cool, while also giving us a really cool character in Guy Gardner, who has a very unique personality. Gunn also responded to someone asking about the Lanterns TV show, saying that Nathan Fillion will be playing Guy Gardner in every Guy appearance in the DCU, which obviously we could have known, but the fact that he's answering this in a question about Lanterns basically confirms that he probably will appear, probably not as a main character, on Lanterns, which makes sense. This does definitely further the feeling of establishment in the DCU, as we are up to our third Blue Beetle, the fourth Robin, and the third Green Lantern. Guy previously appeared in the JLA pilot from 1997, played by Matthew Settle, but obviously that was awful. The DCU will again hopefully give us the quintessential live-action Guy Gardner, hopefully just quintessential live-action versions of every Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, all the aliens, and everything to do with the Green Lantern mythos. I think all these castings are both surprising and very exciting for the DCU, but what does this mean for Superman Legacy specifically? Will it be a bit of a minor Justice League movie given all these unrelated heroes? The answer to that is absolutely not. James Gunn replied to a few people on Threads asking about the plot, asking how these characters fit into it. He basically said they all fit into the storyline, and it's a storyline that will focus on Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And all these characters, well, this is me adding to it, will probably just be adding to the plot. Definitely not taking away from this being a Superman movie. I'm hoping that these appearances strike a balance between not being too overbearing, which it sounds like it won't be, but also serving a purpose beyond a glorified cameo. And I do think that the balance will probably be struck, not only to expand the universe, which it is, but also to maybe put a contrast between the other heroes of the DCU and Superman. Regardless, the DCU has already expanded greatly in ways that I really did not expect it to so quickly, and I am absolutely so excited for Superman Legacy, even more so than before. This definitely sounds like the perfect entry point for the DCU. What this now means is that there are 20 characters, or over 30 if you count the entire cast of Blue Beetle, who have been officially cast in the DCU. First, there's the pre-DCU castings who are being brought over from the DCEU, including Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Steve Agee as Johnny Economos, Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt, John Cena as Peacemaker, Freddie Stroma as Vigilante, Daniela Brooks as Leota Adebayo, maybe Nutley as Judo Master, Sean Gunn as Weasel, and Zola Maradona as Blue Beetle, alongside a few new castings, including Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr., Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky, Zdarsky, Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein, Indira Varma as Braden Frankenstein, Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot, David Cornsweet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, and finally, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Plus, like I said, maybe the entire cast from Blue Beetle, but the only thing we know 100% for now is that Jaime Reyes, played by Zola Mariduena, will go on to appear in the DCU.